Hey everyone, welcome back to Jurassic World Wildlands. Today we're building our first proper predator enclosure, and honestly I've been looking forward to it for this one for a while. This enclosure is going to be home to the Guanlong, and I wanted it to feel completely different from the Minmi meadows, less open but still very visible. I always like starting with terrain because it gives me a rough idea of how I want this enclosure to flow. I'm trying to avoid making everything really flat because I think little hills and different elevation makes the habitat feel a bit more natural. I also try and make the habitats feel endless, so it gives that more of that wild sort of feel in that we're not trapping the animals in an enclosure, but there are rather three in the world, even though you wouldn't want a Guanlong to be out free in a park full of people. Also in this video I'm trying not to make so many cuts from my editing, so you guys kind of get more of a feel of what I'm thinking and what I'm doing when I'm building. Even though this video is a tad bit longer, I think it's just a lot better for the kind of content creation I'm going for. And it saves me a lot of editing anyway, which I don't like doing, as I've said multiple times. But this time I didn't make as many mistakes as I did in my previous episode where I forgot to record a lot. I made sure I was basically recording the whole time I was building. And I didn't do this in one sitting, I did this over a couple of days. So that's why there's obviously going to be some cuts, but when there's not cuts, it's usually done in one sitting. I went for a moat. I don't know how to pronounce it, but I went for one of those for this thing because I wanted to. I don't know really. I just wanted to make it look like you're looking over the Guanlong because I feel like it feels a lot better, doesn't it? Rather than looking eye to eye to a Guanlong, I think if you look down on one, you feel a lot more safe, especially as a guest. Now for my favourite part, making everything look like nature has taken over. I always think rocks and plants are what really brings an enclosure together. I try and make it look like this has been here for years, instead of just built now, but obviously that can be very hard. But I think I did a pretty decent job. I quite like how the little viewing area turned out, even though later I did have a big problem with it when I had to build the viewing gallery. And the viewing gallery is one of the reasons why this video took so long to come out, because I couldn't come up with any ideas on what to build for this viewing gallery, because I found it very hard to get an idea in my head of what I kind of wanted until I decided to just wing it and just start building. And that's the thing I'm doing in the new enclosure as well. Right now I'm trying to build a house for animals and I'm just winging it, because I don't really know what I'm kind of going for. I have a sort of idea, but I'm just winging it mainly. It's one thing you'll see in a lot of my buildings. I just place it down. I quite like that. So I have a lot of cutting as well, because I place a lot of things down to see if I like them. Whichever I like, or don't like, I get rid of, you know. It's a bit hard. But at the same time, I didn't want guests to come here and look at the dinosaurs and leave. So I did a little fossil scene here in this middle piece to make the park truly feel like a living dig site. I tried to imagine a lot of it being aesthetic, so a lot of pictures were on people's Instagrams stories and stuff like that. So that was my goal, to try to make this place very nice and very pretty just in front of the viewing gallery. And you'll see by the finished product, I was pretty happy with it. I think it worked out pretty well. And I did take this idea from Evolution Square with her fossil dig site, but I quite liked it and made my own right here. Now, I've never been to a fossil dig site. I actually didn't even search for a picture for this. I just looked up the modular pieces and whatever looked right to me, I went with. So that was my that was how I worked for this area. If this looks nothing like it, then I'm sorry, but yeah, it's my fault. I just try my best. And I probably put down two fossils that probably you would never find next to each other, I don't think. So that's my fault. But again, you know, this is Jurassic World universe we're living in. It's not realistic, is it? I mean, I put down I don't know how to pronounce it, but I believe that's the big flying one. I think it's Quetzalcoatlus, and then I put down a raptor one. So I doubt you find the next Trevor, but hey ho, it is what it is. You can do what you want, eh? As you guys can see, I try to use the temperate foliage ones just to give it that more natural feel, because I feel like these ones are quite nice and they work quite well together. So when you're using them, I think they work well. But once I've run out of them, I usually switch, because you can't overuse them. And I gotta say, I love this piece of grass. I wish it wasn't square, but I try my best to work around with it, but it's hard when it's so square. But I think at the end I was really happy with this end product, and I was over the moon with it. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. Now once everything was in place, it was just a case of adding the little finished details. Honestly, these are the bits I really enjoy, is adding the little foliage to the rocks and just the little pieces that it's just a tiny little detail that viewers may not notice, but it really transformed the park. I think these little details make, as I was just saying, make a huge difference in the park. Oh, you can see how I'm trying my best to make a cluster of foliage. I did it for the Mimi Meadows one. Try my best here. I couldn't think of something to get together. I think you'll see I changed something in a minute because that middle part was just really put me off. The greenish is so different, so I changed that middle part. But I mean, it's alright. I was happy with the end product. I think I should have changed the blue. So this I wasn't too happy with, but it wasn't too bad. See, I changed the green bit because it's just sticking out like a sore thumb. Like, it just looks terrible. But next, I'm going to try and work on my cluster of foliages next time. And I think I placed them really horribly as well. I just think, I think this wasn't the best cluster of foliage I could have done. I did a lot, but nice one for the Mimi. I really enjoyed my Mimi one. I wish I recorded it, but I didn't. But I think this just looks a bit body, and I think I thought too much about the placement. As I said before, my number one key for foliage is just don't think, just place. Like randomly, don't think what we want to place stuff, just place it randomly, because it's just what nature is, it's just random, isn't it? So you just gotta place it wherever. But next up was probably the biggest build of the episode, and that's the viewing gallery. I wanted this to look like something that could actually exist in a low budget wildlife reserve rather than a massive Jurassic World attraction. It was nothing too fancy, just lots of timber, plenty of greenery, and somewhere guests can quietly watch the dinosaurs. Now this took me a long time, and I've never used this piece of stone before, so it was my first time using that. And I actually really liked it. I was really happy with the end product of this too. So even though it took me a while to figure something out and get it together, I was really happy with how this ended. And you're going to see a lot of cuts in this because this took me hours. I'm going to tell you this now. I was done all the other buildings, I think maybe a day after my the Mimi Meadows episode came out. And this is taking me this long to build just because I couldn't think of anything. I didn't have the motivation to build anything because I just didn't have the motivation because of how like I couldn't think of anything. I was just really demotivated. I was playing other games and I had other stuff to do. I was busy, but it eventually came together and I finally built it. And I was really happy with how this end product finished. I think this is one of the nicest buildings I've built. I've tried building viewing galleries before and they never worked for me. And I think this one turned out really well. I was really happy with it. But anyway, I wanted this episode to talk a bit about the Guanlong as well because I'm really into my dinosaurs and I like researching them. And if I'm wrong, I would like people to tell me because I don't really know where to research. So I look on Dinopedia and then I actually ask ChatGPT if it's legit because I know obviously people can write their own thing on there. So if I'm wrong, then someone can help me, but I've got pages dedicated my notebook to this, so I'm just going to go through some cool interesting facts that I wrote down that I can write for this video. And one of the first facts is it's actually one of the earliest relatives to the T-Rex. It lived around 160 million years ago, so it is much older than the T-Rex and less intimidating, but it's one of the earliest relatives, and you'd be surprised in the size difference. T-Rex is a huge, obviously everyone knows what T-Rex is. A Guanlong is about 3 meters long, so there's a big difference there. And one of the coolest things about it is the crest it has on its head, and that's where it gets its name from, the crown dragon, which is why this is why it's called the Crown Lands, and then I called this Dragon Watch. So I don't want to be boring and call it like something Guanlong something or something. I wanted to go in because I like Crown Dragon. I think it sounds very nice and it suits it very well. But the thing with the crest, the scientists don't believe it was used for fighting, which makes sense. It was rather used for display, which also makes sense. You know, so I guess the coolest crest, you know, gets the most females, eh? I'm really happy with how this Crownlands turned out, and I think it's a nice contrast to the Mimi Meadows. As always, if you've got any ideas for the park or dinosaurs you'd like to see in the future episodes, leave them down in the comments. I read every single one, and they're also helping me shape the park. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, guys. Enjoy the cinematics.